Okay. Thank you. Ms. Concordia, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on the matter. But just at the outset, I would like to address some of the comments that were made by previous speakers, in particular Deputy Finian McGrath, the selective socialist who sits with a technical coalition that is composed of deputies who have a pathological hate of working people in this country. Deputy McGrath has a very selective memory when it comes to his outstanding support for previous Taoiseach Bertie Ahern. Deputy McGrath, in fact, voted for former Minister for Health for her position as Minister Mary Harney. And I think it's ironic that Deputy McGrath selectively supported a previous administration with regard to deals that he made in relation to his independent support. And Deputy McGrath has come into this House and spoken about the historical waste of taxpayers' money by administrations that he has supported. And indeed, Deputy McGrath supported and voted for the bank bailout deal. So it's in that context that we have to look at the sincerity of Deputy McGrath's contribution here this morning. Las Concorla, it's important that we look at the positives in relation to the Jobs Initiative. I'm delighted to be associated with a government that have taken great steps to penetrate areas of the economy that were in need of significant attention. And indeed, the Jobs Initiative goes to some detail with regard to its assistance in particular for the tourism sector, and I welcome very strongly the changes in the VAT rates that will focus on the tourism sector, and indeed the air travel tax and the common visa treatment with the United Kingdom, because we are trying to take as many steps as possible to ensure that the certain pillars of the economy that are struggling are getting a boost and are getting a kickstart. You know, the initiative with regard to the employers' PRSI is a significant movement within that pillar of the economy that's focused on the tourism sector. And I think that this government have taken great steps to date with regard to ensuring that vulnerable areas of the economy are getting a focus and indeed a concentrated effort to ensure that they can get our people back to work. I'd like to speak, however, with regard to the publication this week in relation to the independent review of the employment regulation orders and the registered employment agreements, a report commissioned by government, and indeed the authors being Mr. Duffy and eminent economist Mr. Walsh. I speak in the context that we have made great steps to date with regard to trying to assist one pillar of the economy, and that being the tourism sector, with regard to the PRSI and indeed the VAT. However, you know, there is a concern that I share with many people with regard to the domestic economy and any further attempt to try and deflate and take money out of circulation with regard to the spending power of consumers in the economy, who are the backbone of the economy, and that's people out there in the retail sector, the tourism sector, mainly those people who are earning under the JLCs. And I think that we need to tread very carefully with regard to the state of our economy if we are to do any solo run, as I believe has emerged in the print media this morning by Minister Bruton, with regard to personal initiatives on attacking premiums that are associated for working on Sundays. And I think that in that regard, I think we need to carefully consider the implications of the domestic economy when we're to reduce the spending power of working people in the economy in relation to the rest of the retail sector, who rely on working people to have money to survive. I think it's important that we focus in this initiative, the Jobs Initiative, on the tourism sector. But it's important to note that hotels and restaurants that employ workers, are the lowest paid workers of any sector. The latest CSO data shows that the average weekly pay in this sector was €351, or just half the national average of €698. Research undertaken by the Vincentians Partnership found that in 2009, a family of two with one parent working needed an average of €525 per week to have a minimum essential standard of living. And that means that the average weekly pay in the hospitality sector represents 67% of the income required for a basic standard of living. Hospitality workers did not experience the same level of pay rises that workers in other sectors obtained over the boom years, in which Deputy McGrath was compliant with that administration. In comparison with other sectors, the hospitality workers received the lowest pay increases since 2002. The previous deputy who spoke with regard to the regulation of enforcement in the hospitality sector, it should be noted that the hospitality sector suffers from one of the highest levels of breaches in employment law. NERA, the National Employment Rights Authority inspector, found that between 70% and 80% of businesses investigated in the catering hotel sector were in breach of employment law. And indeed, in 2008 and 2009, NERA found that workers in that sector received as little as €3 to €5 per hour over the 2 years in which NERA recovered nearly €2 million in arrears in wages. So, Las Concórla, the living standards of workers in this economy are in a very precarious situation. And this particular sector, the tourism sector, is made up predominantly of young people, of women, and indeed our new communities. And I think it's critically important that we go into this weekend being absolutely aware of the fact that JLC rates, if they are to be abolished from the premium rates, is going to affect families significantly. And it's estimated that if the JLC rates are to be abolished on the premium, that it would affect working families to approximately €1,250 a year. That would increase the level of income inequality in this country. And I would have concerns, Las Concórla, with regard to the domestic economy.
2 minutes into your companion, to your friend's time now.
And my friend is absolutely conscious of my need to communicate this message with regard to the announcements this morning that they're above and beyond the terms of reference set out by the independent review of the Employment Regulation Order. We are very cognizant in the Labour Party of protecting working people in this economy, and we are very cognizant that any decision with regard to the future of JLC rates will be a decision of government and not a decision of any one individual component of government. We will remain faithful to our constituency and we will remain faithful to our programme of government, but we're also faithful to this country, and we want to ensure that the recovery of this economy is based on ensuring that the domestic economy is vibrant and that people have spending power. To conclude, a previous deputy said that if everybody in this country had €20 to spend extra in this country with the local economy, to buy local, shop local and buy Irish, we would create 20,000 jobs. Any deviation from that strategy would result in job losses, and I welcome the report with regard to the independent review on the employment regulation orders, which categorically states that reducing rates of pay in the JLC sectors will not create one extra job. So I'd like to thank you, Las Concórla.